Okay, so looking at some cones and some cylinders now that we know how to draw ellipses. So last time we spoke about, if we have got our isometric cube, we spoke about cutting these axes here, finding the long axis and the short axis, drawing some points on it, and then connecting those lines, those points up to give us our ellipse. That's funky, that's not great, but you get the idea. So from there, we can basically use that to help us draw some cones. Now, if I was to draw that shape on this top face, and again on the bottom face, and connect the two, we'll have a cone. So let's draw our main first point. We've then got our side like so. It goes up, make sure those two are parallel. This bit over here, like this. Find our back face as well. Just tidy these up so it's not so scraggy. Okay, there we go. Now, all we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing our ellipse on this top face. We're going to be drawing another ellipse on the bottom face. And then from there, all we need to do is draw a vertical line to connect the two. Vertical line to connect the two where the ellipses finish. And we have ourselves a really nice cone. To help the eye, you could potentially add another ellipse in here. And then that allows us, if we draw over this a little bit darker, to show how our ellipse has been formed. Sorry, not our ellipse, how our cylinder. If I've been saying cone, I've meant cylinder. Just like so. This front edge as well is going to be a little bit darker. And then we could potentially have this to show our construction line like that. So there's a cylinder. Now you could do something really similar and you can make a kind of cone shape. Exactly the same principle. I'm going to be rushing these just to kind of save you time. So these aren't going to be perfectly accurate, but you can kind of see what I'm getting at. On the bottom face here, I'm going to draw another ellipse. On the top face, I'm going to draw a smaller ellipse, and technically that smaller ellipse is going to be sitting inside a smaller isometric face, this kind of size, like so, and then I can join those up, and I've got myself a cone. If I wanted to, could then add another ellipse in there to try and help the eye understand what's going on. Draw over it, again going around the outside so it's nice and dark. So the outside face back here, going through here and down here. And this top face. There is our cone. We could then also add in a cone from an isometric cuboid. So if we go back in this direction, maybe I want to add something that extrudes out. So on here, I'm going to make sure that this is a square, so that kind of height and that kind of distance, something like that. It's a skill you'll get used to over time. We've got one there. We can then extrude this out. So we're going to make sure we're following this line out in this direction. Same from the base, same from the top, same from this top bit. Cut across and vertically down. And then cut across there where it's met and vertically up. Okay, and then we've got a plane that's been extruded out. And on these planes, I can have my ellipse, like so. Remember, if you're still practicing, try and add in your long axis, your short axis, your verticals, and then another one over here. And then all of a sudden, if I join those two up and this top part up here, I've got a nice cylinder that has been extruded out using my construction box of the initial cuboid. So that's quite a nice way of using it. Maybe we want to take away a cylinder, could be quite good. So on this front part here, potentially, I imagine that I've got, I'm actually going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to add a line for a square, like so. And we're actually going to move this cylinder's face halfway along. Okay, and hopefully in a second this will make sense as to what I'm getting at. So that's now the new face, this bit here, F. What we're going to do is on this top face, we're going to add a cylinder. Like so, and on the bottom face, if we imagine that one goes back and this one comes across, we're also going to add a cylinder. But because we moved the face along, technically the cylinder finishes here. And it finishes here, which means that we've only got half of it. We've got this kind of semicircular, technically that would go around a bit more there, semicircular bit that we can't actually see. So now the face of our part has moved along and we've got this kind of semicircular cutout. So that's where it can be quite useful as well. You could potentially combine a couple of different shapes. So we've got our isometric cube. And then on top of it, maybe we want an antenna or something. So at the back here, that is all 4 line. Maybe we're going to make this bit stick up. Again, I'm going a little bit fast here. Little small cylinder on the top, ellipse on the top, and then a larger one on the bottom. Connect the two, and then you've got the start of a kind of an antenna bit that sticks on the top face of our isometric cube that we initially had. So as you can see, lots of different things you can do when you have cylinders, cones, ellipses at your disposal and you're really happy with them. Again, basic principles: orange vertical lines, green lines going off in the direction, making sure that they are parallel. So when you start getting a bit crazy with stuff, you want to make sure that these lines here, all of your basics are all still correct, okay? Our vertical lines are all parallel, okay? We're still making sure that the fundamentals of sketching in isometric exist, okay? Nothing has actually changed. So please make sure you stick to those and you will create some really good things. Have a little go, see how you get on, test your skills, be creative, go for something a little bit different down there.